It's 6 p.m. and you walk into the break room mid-conversation, your shoulders still tight from the drive home. Someone straightens up. Someone laughs a fraction too fast at their own joke, and you think, I didn't even say anything yet. You didn't do anything. You just arrived, and something in the air quietly rearranged itself around you. But psychology tells a completely different story. What reads as intimidating has almost nothing to do with aggression, and everything to do with 7 quiet behaviors you never noticed you were performing. There are 7 traits that explain why people feel this way around you, and none of them were ever about being cold. Trait 1. Low approval seeking. Most people in almost every interaction are running a background process. Are they liking this? Did that land right? Should I soften what I just said? You mostly don't run that process. And the strange part isn't that you don't care what people think. It's that you stopped asking the question early enough that it never became visible on your face. Psychologists call this reduced social monitoring, and it's rare enough that its absence reads as confidence, even when you've simply stopped performing for an audience. Think about the last time you gave an honest answer in a meeting without pre-softening it first. You didn't feel bold. You just said the thing. Everyone else, still running their approval check in real time, experienced that as somebody who doesn't need permission to exist out loud. But not asking permission is only the first layer. The second one shows up the moment something actually goes wrong. Trait 2. Emotional containment. When something frustrating happens, you don't broadcast it. Your face doesn't do the thing most faces do, the little flinch, the sigh, the search for someone to validate the reaction with. But here's what nobody tells you about that stillness. It isn't the absence of feeling. It's the presence of a nervous system that processes internally instead of externally. Researchers studying emotional regulation call this internalized affect processing, and to someone watching from outside, an unreadable face gets filled in with meaning, usually control, restraint, someone who could react but is choosing not to. You're not choosing anything. You're just built to metabolize first and speak second, and that half-second delay is the entire difference between reactive and formidable. It sounds simple, but in a room full of people who react on impulse, staying that steady reads like a superpower. Someone once canceled on you an hour before an important meeting, and you just said, "Okay, let's reschedule," no sigh, no clipped tone. They apologized 3 separate times afterward because your calm made them fill in the reaction you never gave. That stillness doesn't just protect you from a reaction you didn't want to have. It does something to the room too, something that only gets stronger the moment you stop talking altogether. Trait 3. Comfort with silence. Most conversations have a rule nobody states out loud. Don't let the pause get too long. You break that rule constantly without noticing you're breaking it. And the strange part is that the silence itself does something you didn't intend. It makes the other person feel it, which means they end up revealing more than you ever asked for. This is sometimes called the pressure of unfilled space, a documented negotiation tactic, except you didn't learn it from a book. You just never developed the anxious reflex that makes other people talk to fill discomfort. What feels to you like simply not having anything urgent to add gets read by everyone else as a kind of patience they can't match. In a negotiation once, you asked your question and then just waited, watching the other person's face while they searched for more to say. You weren't trying to pressure them. You genuinely had nothing else to add yet. They ended up offering more than you would have asked for. It's the same instinct that decides, long before anyone speaks, who actually gets close to you in the first place. Trait 4. Selective access. You don't perform warmth for people you've just met, and you don't extend the same version of yourself to everyone in the room. This isn't coldness, it's a functioning filter, and its rarity is exactly what signals to people that your closeness was never the default setting, which is why it means something when you offer it. Social psychologists call this discriminative warmth. The rarer a signal, the more weight it carries. You've just never confused politeness with intimacy. Most people never learn the difference. A new coworker tried 3 jokes on you in 1 week, testing for a door that opens easily. It didn't. Not because you disliked them, you were still deciding who they were. Most people assume that once someone finally gets close to you, the intimidating part disappears. It usually gets stronger, but for a reason nobody expects. Trait 5. Directness without hedging. You say the thing without wrapping it in 6 qualifiers first. No, this might be a dumb question. No, I could be totally wrong, but just the sentence, stated plainly. Hedging language isn't really about humility. It's a request for the listener to go easy on you before you've even finished speaking. You stopped making that request somewhere along the way, so it stopped feeling useful. What's left is speech that sounds certain even when you don't feel certain, and certainty, to a listener's ear, is almost indistinguishable from authority. You told a friend once plainly, "I don't think that's a good idea, no cushioning." She told you weeks later that sentence stuck with her more than anyone else's advice that year, because it didn't sound like advice. It sounded like a fact. And the same instinct that keeps you from hedging your words is the one that keeps you from advertising your abilities either. Trait 6. Unannounced competence. When you're good at something, you don't lead with it. You let the work speak and only answer questions about your ability when someone actually asks. But something even stranger happens before anyone realizes you're competent. They start changing their behavior around you first. The competence only explains it afterward. This violates what researchers call self-promotion norms, the usual social contract where people signal their value early so nobody underestimates them. You skip that step entirely. But the psychological cost of skipping it is also the reward. Competence that reveals itself gradually, instead of being announced up front, reads as far more real because it wasn't asking to be believed. It was just there, waiting to be noticed. People trust what they discover more than what they're told, and you keep accidentally making people discover you. You fixed a problem last month without mentioning it, and a colleague, not you, pointed it out to the room. The silence before that discovery did more for how people saw you than any announcement could have. None of these 6 things happen because you're trying to prove anything. Trace them back far enough, and they all lead to the exact same place, one you never chose on purpose. The final trait is different from the other 6 because it isn't a behavior, it's the thing underneath all of them. You default to protecting your own energy over managing other people's comfort with you. Every trait so far has been a visible symptom. This is the actual cause. Somewhere along the way, you stopped treating other people's ease around you as your responsibility. Not because you decided to intimidate anyone, because you got tired of shrinking, and the shrinking simply never came back. You were never trying to seem powerful. You simply stopped negotiating for the right to exist comfortably inside your own skin. To someone still negotiating every sentence, every smile, every apology that doesn't look like peace. It looks like power. The traits that made people call you intimidating are the same traits, from a different angle, that make people trust you once they actually get close enough to see them clearly. The room doesn't rearrange itself around you because you're guarded. It rearranges because you stopped asking it for permission to take up space. And people can always tell the difference between performing confidence and simply forgetting to check. Which trait hit closest to home? Drop the number in the comments.